Welcome back to the Ross Bolin podcast, presented by Bolin Media. I am Ross Bolin here with courageous Kade Orris. Kade, say hello to the people.
Hello, people.
How we doing this week, Kade? Head held high?
Yeah, doing good. No, hit the run club yesterday. Had a date on Tuesday.
Okay.
That went well.
Your average date, or was there anything special about it?
No, nothing too special. You know, we just went to Cosmic Coffee and just got a couple drinks, got to know each other and all of that, and just first date vibes.
Did you tell her about the podcast?
Of course, I always tell people about the podcast. So it's the girl I met on Hinge, and I had it's you put all your information in, and one of the things is your job title. So I put producer / co-host. And then I had a clip from our show.
Shut up, really?
Yeah. So yeah,
a video clip?
Yeah.
On your Hinge profile.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's when we did the dad jokes.
Okay, so she could be listening right now.
Possibly, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I told her the name of it, so she might be listening, or maybe another former Hinge date might be listening. I don't know.
At least we're getting one more potential listener out of every date you go on.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, no, that's kind of why I do it. It's
at the very least.
Yeah, get the word out there that we have a podcast.
I wonder if we could for tax purposes, you could put this as a marketing expense.
Yeah, no, I could pay for Hinge Plus or X or Prime or whatever the fuck they got going on.
It's not dating, it's marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Get the word out there.
You're simply advertising the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just match with everyone, and they see that I have a podcast. They're like, oh, wow, let me go check this guy out and see what they talk about.
I have found that it's probably one of the most impressive things you can tell people in this day and age, that you have a podcast.
Yeah.
They're always it's almost like being a doctor or a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
people really respect podcasters.
Right.
At the top of the professional list, we're up there.
We are, yeah, with the learned doctors and dentists and everything.
We just get paid less.
We do, yeah, a lot less, but that's okay.
That's the difference.
We do it for the love of the game.
And the respect.
Yeah, exactly.
The outpouring of respect that comes from everywhere when you talk about being a podcaster. People love that.
They do.
They really love that, just off the bat, without explanation even. I want to give a shout out up top to all my people in Houston, Texas, dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl.
Beryl.
Beryl. It was like a George R. Martin
yeah.
Game of Thrones House of the Dragon name for a fucking hurricane. Crazy amount of people still without power, though. My dad and brother's houses included. They live in the same neighborhood, so... yeah, and obviously in the middle of the summer. Not ideal.
No.
Not the time of year.
Not ideal in the summer or winter, which is when this has been occurring.
We don't, I'd prefer it in the winter. Because in the winter, at least you can bundle up.
Right.
Just get a bunch of blankets, put on a robe, light a fire in the fireplace or whatever. Now you're just fucked. It's 90 degrees
all day,
in your house at night. And I'm one of these people when I get really hot, I can't sleep without covers.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, oh, just take the comforter off and just sleep with a sheet. I can't do that.
No.
I need something weighty on top of me, or I cannot fucking pass
I'm
out.
always worried that the monsters under my bed are gonna grab my feet and just pull me under.
Yeah,
so that's
too.
why I always wear a cover, even if it's scalding hot out. Yeah.
This is since we're on the subject, this is one of those things that, as I become a real bona fide adult over the last several years, and now being a 37-year-old man, I've shed a lot of childhood habits, gotten rid of a lot of bad habits that I developed when I was a young person and even a little kid. But one of them I still haven't gotten rid of is the way I sleep. And I think about it every once in a while, because I sleep like a little kid who's scared of the dark. I sleep with the covers pulled up over my head, I'm wrapped up. I have to have it go over my ear, it's the covers are over my ear. It's a sound suppression thing, too. But it's the way a small child who's scared of the dark and thinks there's a monster under their bed would sleep.
Yeah, because for whatever reason... We think for covered up, they won't get it. It's the monster's shit, sorry.
Yeah, that's the thing. But logically, it's idiotic.
Yeah.
You're not being shielded by this in any way, shape, or form from any type of attack. Certainly not from a monster attack. But even a gun, a knife, the blanket's not doing shit for you.
Yeah, some intruder comes in oh, sorry, he's under the blanket,
But I
Can't rip it
feel
off, yeah.
so much more unsafe if I don't have covers over me and like pulled up and wrapped around me, and like I sleep like a fucking child.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, I'll try to fall asleep on my back like a man. You know,
That's how all men sleep.
that's how a man is meant to sleep, on your back, facing the world, scared of nothing. And I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, I really cannot do it. I think I would have to be like extremely intoxicated. And definitely not, I mean, like drunk. I don't think I could do it high. Being high just makes you more scared of everything.
Yeah, you're very paranoid.
So, yeah, it's a tough habit to break. It's like one of the few remaining vestiges of childhood that I have. And sometimes I'm a little self-conscious about it. Because my wife sleeps like a totally normal adult.
Yeah.
Like, she can
fall
sleep in any
asleep.
position,
Yeah.
normal position. Doesn't have to be like wrapped up under the covers like a kid. And then there's me on the other side of the bed, just like.
So you're just like hogging all the blankets then?
No, I'm practiced at that.
Yeah.
Like, I know how to do it without, because that's not cool.
No.
That's one of the worst things you can be, is a person who rips the covers away from the other person. You don't want. That's a one-way ticket to divorce right there. You don't want that. You don't want to do that. That's no bueno. So no, I don't do that. Both of us are very good about that. It's rare that we have like a cover discrepancy.
Yeah, like a tug of war
In our household,
almost.
yeah.
With the blanket.
Yeah, but I do sleep like a frightened child every single night, and I have for like 30 years. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to get rid of it. Like, am I gonna be like a 50-year-old man just like curled up like,
Yeah.
oh,
Someone's going to get me.
I hope no one comes in. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, back to the hurricane. So yeah, a lot of people without power still in Houston, and Centerpoint Energy, which is like the main energy provider in Houston, is doing a pretty shit job of keeping people informed of like when their power will be restored, when their area is going to be worked on, when the maintenance crews are going to arrive, all that shit.
And is this for Austin too, like the same?
No, we have a different energy provider than Houston.
But we're all on like the same.
We're on the same grid.
Okay.
But different company for Houston.
Okay.
Than for Austin. I don't remember what ours is called in Austin, but Centerpoint is what they're dealing with in Houston. And because they I'm not sure about the situation today, Thursday, July 11th, but as of earlier this week, there was no way for anybody to track like the situation. Like, you couldn't get on their website, on Centerpoint's website, and see where the power outages were. Mm-hmm. So people were using the Whataburger app as a power outage tracker, because Whataburger has like a map with all of their locations, of which there are like hundreds in Houston.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's
literally
it's pretty insane. The
hundreds of Whataburgers. And if the lights were like, if the logo of the Whataburger location is dark, it means there's no power at that location and it's closed. Mm-hmm. If it was lit up like it's supposed to be with the orange and the white and the W, that meant it was on. So people were using Whataburger to track power outages.
Yeah, the app you use to like order food and like go pick it up.
Yeah, because Centerpoint's website is so dog shit, which is the most Texas shit I have ever heard in my life, relying on the Whataburger app.
Did your dad and brother have to use that too? Or?
Yeah, my dad ended up checking this. Like, it was what a lot of people use, dude. So I saw a tweet from a guy saying like, yeah, the Centerpoint tracker is down. So I'm pulling up the tweet so I can say that. He said the Whataburger app works as a power outage tracker. Handy since the electric company doesn't show a map. Still nearly 1.9 million power outages. So he was just using the Whataburger tracker to like calculate.
Yeah.
And I quote tweeted that and said, Houstonians currently being forced to check power outages on the Whataburger app. This is America. And it was just one of those things I was like, that's really interesting. Also kind of funny in a dark way.
Yeah.
I'm going to share it. I have a lot of Houston followers, born and raised there, like obviously do a Houston sports podcast still. A lot of Houston people listen to my shit. I wasn't even thinking about it. I like came back to my phone several hours later or whatever, like checked Twitter again, and it had gone fucking insane. It has like 10,000 retweets, 252 quote tweets, 3.6 million views. Like, it got put on the fucking For You page or whatever. So my Twitter just exploded in the worst way possible, because it was mostly half the replies are people being like, it's not America, this is a Texas problem. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, yes, technically, but Texas is in America, and I'll get to that in a minute. And the other half of the people were just arguing about whether or not the Republicans or the Democrats should be blamed for this whole situation. And I was just like, oh my God, somebody kill me. Like I had to mute the notifications on the tweet because it was just the worst discourse
You ever
possible.
think about like just like turning off the comments? Because I think that's like a thing you can do.
I think you can, yeah. I mean, when you can mute this tweet, you can mute all the notifications from that tweet. It pretty much accomplishes the same thing, except while letting people continue to bicker and fight in the comments, which is fine with me. So, but yeah, crazy situation with Texas. Okay, so if you're wondering, like, why is it a Texas problem, not an America problem? Texas has its own power grid separate from the rest of the United States, and it's actually the only state in the contiguous United States with its own power grid. So not counting like, Hawaii and Alaska. But not ideal. This is why, like, if you've been listening for years, like when Austin has had these outages with freezes in the wintertime, everybody in Texas is freaking out about the power grid, whether the grid is going to be able to handle the amount of power needed. Like, just to summarize, when it gets really, really cold here and every single person in the state has their heater on, it uses a lot of power to keep their homes heated. And because we are on our own power grid, separate from the rest of the country, if it gets overloaded and it fails, we're just kind of fucked. The way the rest of the country's grid operates is if if there's some disaster in New York, like more power can be directed toward New York and away from an area that doesn't necessarily need it as much, like Idaho or some shit. Well, it's just Texas in a bubble by itself with its own power grid, and we're the only state that operates that way. And as a result, we're running into all kinds of problems. And it's a complicated, ironically, political situation too, because like it's a lobbying thing. Like all these power companies in Texas just give these politicians a shit ton of money, and then the politicians don't do anything to make them switch up. Or update any of their shit, or have a properly functioning website so people can see when the outages are, so they don't have to use the goddamn Whataburger app. So it's a mess. It's not great. It definitely is.
How long has this been a thing? Like, is it like?
I think my whole life. I don't know when Texas got on its own grid, but I'm pretty sure it was before my time. Maybe like the 80s or something. But it didn't become like a huge problem until inclement weather in Texas became a bigger thing over the past like 20 years. Because like I've said before, when I was a kid, if it froze, like if there was a freeze in Houston, that was like a apocalyptic event. Like it happened like once in my childhood. But now it's like every goddamn winter we have a freeze. Some are more extreme than others, but it's a mess. Anyway, the storm in Houston was pretty rough apparently. Like they obviously deal with hurricane season pretty much every year. Sometimes it's a lot worse than others, like Hurricane Harvey was obviously a total shitstorm where the hurricane just parked on top of the city and dumped rain for days and days and days. Total disaster. This was a little more short-lived. It was more like a half a day thing, but the wind was like bonkers, like 90 miles per hour. My dad said it was like the most terrifying storm they've had this year, and they had a weird one a couple of months ago that knocked power out for a bunch of people too. Crazy wind, a bunch of trees got ripped out of the ground. And this one, my brother's truck got crushed by a tree. It was parked at my dad's house. This tree came down and just fucking slammed through the back of the bed of the truck. Like it's done. But apparently it might have saved my dad's like kitchen from being crushed by a tree. So, you take that win. But anyway, my family's all safe. My mom has power, so they've been able to like go over to her place and whatnot. But yeah, my dad and my brother's houses still no power, and they don't really know when they're going to get it back. Just using the old Whataburger app. Yeah.
Real unfortunate.
In other news, I went to the eye doctor yesterday for my annual checkup, and overall the experience was fine. Just like every year for the past 20 years, they go, "Yep, your vision's exactly the same," and I'm like, "Thanks. Here's a bunch of money." But when my doctor came in, you deal with like I don't think it's a nurse, but like a doctor's assistant first,
right?
An eye doctor junior or something.
Yeah,
you deal with them first, and they do like all the different tests on you. They sit you at the different machines. The one that like blows a puff of air into your face.
Yeah, the worst machine ever.
Didn't have to do that this time.
Huge. Love that for you.
Updated situation in my doctor's office. They stuck a virtual reality headset on my face, like a Facebook Oculus or whatever Meta
thing. Yeah,
thing, I don't even know if it was one of those, but first time I've ever had a virtual reality headset on, and it did a bunch of the tests.
Did they have like the farm one where it's like really far away and like blurry? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that one,
they just like
that one bums me out.
Why?
I can't see shit. And it does the thing where it like puts the farm into focus, and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's the farm, and then it goes away. I'm like, oh no, the farm.
So they just updated like all their machines, or like they put all their machines in this virtual reality headset.
Almost all of them. There was still one I had to go into the other room and sit in front of and do. But yeah, the virtual reality headset took care of like the one where it's like you stare at the red dot and then like a white dot pops up in the peripheral and you have to click the button.
Mm-hmm. I like doing that one.
That one's kind of fun. It's a game, right?
It's a game.
Okay, for whatever reason, the virtual reality headset version of that is 10 times longer.
Yeah, I will say like it does feel like you're...
This goes on so much longer than the OG version. Like at one point I go, hey man, like, am I almost done? And I can't see him because I've got a headset on.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, I know this one goes pretty long. I was like, I kept going. A couple more minutes passed, and I go, surely old people just quit on this regularly.
Yeah.
And he was like, actually, all of the time. Like the elderly are just like, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. Because it was like, it felt like 5 minutes that I was sitting there like white dot, white dot, white dot, white dot.
I feel like you don't even like have to see it. Like I feel like it's just like you just
could
click
time it.
Yeah.
Eventually, it kind of throws you for a loop, I think, and like puts more time in between them.
And then that's where I'm like, fuck, did I miss one of these?
I know. Then it gets in your head.
Did I need to lock in again?
It's funny. There's like no enjoyable doctor experience. Like
none of them.
But the eye doctor, the dentist, they all have their own little quirks and things that are annoying about them. But like by the time I left the eye doctor, I was exhausted. Like my eyes are so tired from having to do all this different shit and fucking focus on these dots and look at these blurry barns. It was ridiculous. But anyway, so they put the headset on me. I did the tests. Doctor comes in and, he puts me in the chair with like the classic like eye doctor thing that you put your chin on the deal and you're looking through the, clear eye holes, and they're on the other side like shining a light in your eyes and telling you like, look at this ear, now look at my other ear, so they can see all around in your eyeball. So the dude's looking into my eyes and he's breathing like halitosis directly into my face, just like awful breath. And I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ, oh my God. And I couldn't stop thinking about like how like every patient this dude sees, they have to experience that.
Because it wasn't like he just had something bad for lunch.
No, this was like,
this is...
You could tell the difference.
Yeah.
If somebody's having like a bad breath day or due to a meal, that's a distinguishable difference from straight halitosis, which is like, this is the thing that this person is dealing with regularly. And I remember this happening last year too. The same doctor. I go once a year, right? And I remember him having like this halitosis situation last year. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm not going to change doctors because it would be a bigger hassle for me to find a new doctor and like get all my paperwork over there and deal with the fucking insurance side of it and all that than it is to just, deal with this one dude's stank for 15 minutes per 365 days. So I'm not going to change doctors, but I do feel like bad for him because he must not know.
Right. Yeah. None of his employees have said
nobody's
like, hey,
spoken
man,
up.
Like here's a Tic Tac or some gum for you.
Yeah. Like, or bro, this is like you're in people's face for a living. You need to work on the breath situation.
Yeah.
And he's got like 10 other employees in there, and I think like another doctor at his practice with him. So like somebody should have spoken up at this point, and I don't understand how no one has told him. And it got me thinking about like worst professions for bad breath. Because there are obviously some where it's a lot worse than others.
Right, when you're like up close and personal with someone.
Yeah.
That's where you don't want to have bad breath.
Yeah, like dentist is definitely at the top of the list because that's like you're supposed to have supreme oral hygiene. It's like your whole ass job.
Right.
If you have a dentist with bad breath, that's pretty concerning. Like, this person's in charge of my oral health and they can't even get theirs under control.
Yeah, and like they're all up in your personal space too. Your mouth is open.
Yeah,
like, for a long period.
they're just breathing into your throat. Usually they have like a mask on
I was about to say
now.
they have a mask on most of the
but
time.
I don't know if masks even can contain like straight halitosis.
Yeah.
Like that shit's coming out. Also, just one of the most disgusting words.
halitosis.
Halitosis. and it fits so perfectly with what it is describing, which is just like chronic ass breath. I feel like
Is
salespeople.
that like the layman's term for it?
Yeah, that's the scientific term. Salespeople probably is one of the worst, positions that you could have bad breath, especially if you're having to go like office to office and do sales, because like that's not the impression you want to hit people with.
No, yeah.
They're not buying.
Yeah,
that
no, they're
shit.
not buying what you're selling.
Nah.
With your bad breath, no. Especially if you're selling like oral hygiene products, like
Then it's over. Yeah. No, the same thing with the dentist. It's like if your dentist has bad breath, it's like having like if I knew my mechanic's car was fucked.
Yeah.
Or what do they say about like never trust a skinny chef?
Oh yeah, because he doesn't like the food. He
Must not be
makes.
that good at cooking if you're that skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should be a great big fat person.
I guess, yeah.
Because then you're a better chef. That's how I feel about a dentist with halitosis or a salesperson slanging toothbrushes with halitosis. Oh, by the way, I don't think I've mentioned this, but we had a listener who's an orthodontist hit me up. I guess I brought up like my toothbrush at some point on Patreon maybe or something. Anyway, my toothbrush broke. Former sponsor, not going to mention them, but toothbrush broke, and I've used the same toothbrush for years because they used to sponsor our show. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm kind of ready for a change. And this dude DM'd me on Instagram and said like, yo, I can hook you up with like the latest and greatest. And I said, send it over. And I thought he was going to send me like some basic toothbrush, like maybe vibrates or something. But like he sent me this crazy ass Oral-B AI powered fucking $200 toothbrush. Not exaggerating, very expensive toothbrush that is so sick. It's there's an app for it. I have to pull up an app every time I brush my teeth.
All right, can I see this app?
Yeah.
Like what would I
And it shows you like all of your teeth, okay? And as you're doing like one area of your mouth, it gets highlighted and it lets you know like how long to stay on each tooth. And then it lets you know like the area turns white when you're done with that area to like move on to the next area to make sure you get your whole mouth. And it gives you a grade after each brushing session. Like this most recent one, I got 100% covered, crushed it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
Wait, so you just have that open like every
I leave
time
it on the counter and I just like do my teeth and
And it's like as you're doing like it's like showing up on the app.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's fucking tight. It's really impressive stuff. Shout out to Oral-B, not a sponsor, but they should be. Because I love this thing. Mm-hmm. It kind of makes sort of like the white dot at the.
It makes
it's a little
fun.
game.
Yeah.
It's like a little game brushing my teeth now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it also tells like if you apply too much pressure, the toothbrush flashes red, and then it takes away from your score. It's you went too hard. That could damage your gums.
Yeah.
Tells you all kinds of crazy shit. You can go through your history, look at your score average, your coverage, pressure, brush time. It's fucking insane.
That's crazy.
It's so over the top. It tells me like I have 78 days left with this brush head before I have to change it out.
Oh, see, I like whenever I get a new toothbrush, I'd never change like the head of it. Like I don't know how long the one I have.
Dude, my
under
wife
now.
either. Like not to call her out, but the other day I looked at her toothbrush and I was like, "This is absolutely fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
You have got to get a new
Mine's
toothbrush."
starting to get that way too. I think.
Oh man, no,
But,
you can't have that.
Yeah, I think for like Christmas or something, I'll ask for a new toothbrush.
Yeah, that's an exciting adult
Yeah,
gift.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be the best. Can't wait to unwrap that. Get this one, dude. Ask for this fucking
Yeah,
thing.
dude. Yeah, hook me up.
It goes very hard. Anyway, shout out to that orthodontist. Thanks for the hookup, man. This thing rules. I don't think I'll ever change toothbrushes again unless we get a sponsor. Other professions that are bad for the bad breath. Teacher, because the students aren't going to listen to you.
No.
Usually you're at the front of the class, but you know you do have to deal with people individually sometimes.
One-on-ones.
Walk over to their desk, lean over.
See how they're doing.
Tell them to get off their fucking phone.
Yeah.
And if your breath reeks, it's hard to keep the class's respect. Mm-hmm. It's like the number one thing you need as a teacher, the students' respect.
Yeah, and the kids are, they're going to be talking a lot of shit behind your back,
and
too.
probably to your face.
And to your face.
Kids don't give a fuck.
No, they don't give a fuck.
They'll tell you.
Yeah, straight to your face that your breath smells like shit.
Stripper, probably a bad one, because, the lap dances.
Right.
You're not getting tips.
No, if you have bad breath, no.
If you got that stanky breath.
No.
It's not the stripper anybody wants in their life.
I also feel like strippers have to deal with bad breath a lot, too.
Oh, God, probably more than anybody. Mm-hmm. Well, dentists, but then strippers.
Now, I was also going to say, like, bartenders, like, that wouldn't be a good one to, like, have bad breath for, but they also probably have to deal with a lot of bad breath.
Barber, haircut person, that's another one.
Oh, yeah.
Don't want that.
No.
Speaking of which, I have a haircut appointment tomorrow. Finally, my hair is completely out of control. I still don't know what I'm going to do, but that's a later in the day problem to figure out. But one time I went in there, like my appointment, I thought I had more time before it than I did, and I hadn't showered in a couple of days because that happens sometimes as a parent. Never happened to me before kids. Now, every once in a while, I'll realize it's been like 48 hours since I showered, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Not if I'm working out, to be clear.
I was
if
like,
I'm working
damn,
out, I always shower.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm not getting in bed like that.
Yeah.
But I went into my haircut appointment, and I was like, I'm sorry, my hair is kind of fucked. I haven't showered. My bad. And she was like, oh, this is nothing. And I was like, what? Do some people roll in here like a mess?
Yeah.
She was like, people come straight from the gym sometimes. And I was like, whoa. That's like almost borderline disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you can't be doing that. That you just a smelly, sweaty mess while you're in the barber
And that's
chair.
like at least 30 minutes too. Like,
Yeah,
you have to deal with that. That's not
That's
good.
not right.
No.
Anyway, haircut person, another one to have bad breath. That's a no-no. You can't do it. You're gonna lose clientele.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be breathed on for 30 minutes or more. Is that how long it takes you? About 30 minutes? Sometimes
Yeah.
mine are like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I guess because you're just like trimming it up.
Yeah,
a
lot of the time.
So yeah, mine takes a little longer than that. But
Yeah. Also, MMA fighters.
yeah. Well, I feel like that could be an advantage.
Oh.
No, you just breathe that hot stinky breath on
And
your
they're like,
opponent.
fuck.
Yeah.
Tap out.
They get discombobulated, and then that's when you get them in the arm bar or something.
Yeah. Sneak it in there.
Yeah.
Fucking gross, dude. Anyway, any others? Who's up close and personal?
I was gonna say like an Uber driver or something, but like they're facing in front of you, so like probably not. Like a lot of times they're not even talking to you, so maybe not.
On that note, though, I do often like. It's such a terrible feeling when you get into a ride share and the car smells.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're just like, fuck. You have one job.
Yeah. And like I'm smelling really good, and like I feel like their bad
It's gonna
smells
get on you, cling to you.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna take it with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then people are gonna think it's you.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, it's my Uber driver. I'm sorry.
That's the worst thing too. This happens with halitosis, with the bad breath thing, but also with like the car thing. When a smell is so awful that it sticks with you, like you feel like it's in your nose, and
Just
you
clings to
get
your
little
nose
whiffs
hairs.
of it, like
Yeah.
throughout the day later on. You're just like, fuck, is it with me? Did it like?
Did it pass on to me?
Do I have to shower? Like, is this a thing that? Fuck, yeah, that's a terrible feeling. Anyway, take care of your oral hygiene. This has been an oral hygiene segment here at the top of the show. Just a reminder: make sure you don't have ass breath. When I'm working out, there are a few essential things I absolutely must have: my headphones for music, my water bottle with my supplements mixed in, and my Fitbod app on my phone. Today's episode is brought to you by Fitbod. Fitbod is a fitness app that creates completely personalized workouts that adapt as you improve. Whether you are a seasoned gym goer or just starting your fitness journey, the essential your workout really needs is Fitbod. It's a fitness app that customizes each workout based on your goals and adapts them as you improve. It's like having your own personal trainer, but better. It's cheaper. You can work out anywhere with or without equipment, and it's easy to build a custom fitness plan that works for you, and it doesn't yell at you or sweat on you or have bad breath or give you awkward motivational speeches when you're just trying to get some fitness in. I've been using the Fitbod app for well over a year now. It's legitimately awesome. I have done 191. I've got my app pulled up. Yesterday was my 191st Fitbod workout. I have a goal on mine set for 4 workouts per week. You can choose like all the equipment that you have available at your disposal. All the shit I have in my garage is on here. You don't have to have any equipment though. You can also choose like whether you're just trying to get stronger and lift more weight or increase muscle mass and size or get lean and defined or just do general fitness. It gives you all kinds of options to make your customized workout plan. Fitbod is incredible. It is the future. It has everything you wish those other apps had. It's honestly been one of the most positive additions I've ever made to my life. Maybe my favorite sponsor this show has ever had. And before I started using it, I just did the exact same workouts every time I worked out for years. And that mundane repetition wasn't really doing shit for my body. I plateaued hard. Fitbod has changed that in every way. It's an essential part of my life. No exaggeration. It adapts as I progress. And because it lets me rate each exercise within my workout, it learns how difficult or easy it was for me and adjusts accordingly. And if you're like, oh, I don't know how to do workouts, I've never worked out before, Doesn't matter with each lift or movement that it gives you to do. Fitbod also provides multiple videos for you to watch from different angles of someone else doing the exercise so you can see exactly what you're supposed to be doing, as well as providing a text description of each movement so you're never lost. Add Fitbod to your workout essentials. Join Fitbod today to get your personalized workout plan and get 25% off your subscription, or try the app free at fitbod.me/Ross. You get 25% off if you subscribe, or I think they give you last time I checked, I think it was 4 free workouts so you can see exactly how it works. That's FITBOD, fitbod.me/Ross.
Grab your light, this is Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high.
Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high.
Today's Stuff to Wikipedia when you're high is the 2003 Angola Boeing 727 disappearance.
Why do I feel like it's always the Boeing airplanes that are like disappearing?
Because they have a lot of problems.
Yeah. Sounds like.
A lot of problems. Hopefully we don't get a hit put on us for doing this segment today. I didn't really think about that before.
Yeah, no, they're taking out them whistleblowers, I've heard.
We're not whistleblowing.
No.
This is on Wikipedia. Just to be clear, Boeing, since you're probably listening, we are not whistleblowing. We are simply citing a Wikipedia article. So on the 25th of May, 2003, which is 2 years after 9/11, just as a note, a Boeing 727-223 airliner was stolen at Quatro de Feverio, an airport in Luanda, Angola, prompting a worldwide search by law enforcement intelligence agencies in the United States. The aircraft was manufactured in 1975 and operated by American Airlines for 25 years until the year 2000. Its last owner was reported to be a Miami-based company called Aerospace Sales and Leasing. The aircraft had been grounded at this airport since March 2002, so it sat idle for 14 months and accrued more than $4 million in unpaid airport fees, which seems like an awful lot. So it was one of 2 aircraft at the airport that were in the process of being converted for use by Nigerian IRS Airlines. The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation described the aircraft as, quote, unpainted silver in color with a stripe of blue, white, and blue. The aircraft was formerly in the air fleet of a major airline, but all of the passenger seats have been removed. It is outfitted to carry diesel fuel. So on May 25th, 2003, shortly before sunset, it is believed that 2 men, Ben C. Padilla and John M. Mutantu, boarded the aircraft. Padilla was a pilot and flight engineer from the United States, while Mutantu was a hired mechanic from the Republic of the Congo. Neither of the men were certified to fly a Boeing 727, and they needed an additional crew member to fly the aircraft. So they are thinking they didn't even have enough guys.
Yeah. But the one of the guys was a pilot, but he just didn't know.
Not a 727 guy, though, apparently. So I don't know.
I feel like if you're a pilot, you should be able to, you would know how to fly.
Probably get the gist. I mean, he gets enough of it to take off, that's for sure. But Padilla, the dude who was a pilot, is believed by U.S. authorities to have been at the controls of the plane and been the dude that was actually doing the driving. The aircraft began taxiing without communication with the control tower. It was maneuvering erratically and entered a runway without clearance. So all of a sudden the plane just starts going, and the control tower is excuse us, hello?
Where do you think you're going?
The fuck is happening? This plane hasn't moved in years. Air traffic controllers tried to make contact. They did not get a response. The plane did not have its lights on. So it's like they were trying to sneak off.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to sneak off with a
727 giant fucking aircraft.
Especially when you have air traffic control up there, seeing everything.
Yeah, and it's being retrofitted to carry diesel fuel.
Yeah.
So it takes off. It's heading southwest over the Atlantic Ocean, and then it just straight up disappears. And before they took off, the aircraft was filled with 14,000 gallons of fuel, giving it a range of about 1,500 miles. So they could have gotten some distance out of this thing. Now after takeoff, when it gets over the ocean and it disappears, they have no fucking clue where it went. The aircraft nor the 2 men have been seen since. No debris from the aircraft was ever found. It's gone. No trace of this thing. Just poof.
Maybe they just gave it a paint job.
Yeah, like in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Just pulled into a garage, painted it a different color, and took back off.
Yep.
And they don't really even have any good theories about like what the hell happened here. Padilla, the pilot's sister, Benita Padilla Kirkland, told the South Florida Sun Sentinel in 2004 that her family suspected that her brother had been flying the aircraft and feared that he subsequently crashed somewhere in Africa or was being held against his will. I don't know what...
Those are two crazy
very
options.
different
Yeah.
options there. It says U.S. authorities suspected that Joseph, the other guy's history of accounting fraud, might have played a part, believed that the plane's theft was either caused by a business feud or resulted from some scam. Not sure, again, like there's not a lot of specifics around how those theories would apply.
You know, like, how do they even know these were the two guys?
I guess because these two guys also were missing.
Okay.
And were like never seen or heard from again.
Like a sketchy history too.
Yeah, and maybe they got like some footage from the air. I'm assuming like 2003.
Like at the airport.
They surely had cameras. Around.
Mm-hmm.
But in July 2003, a possible sighting of the missing aircraft was reported in Conakry, Guinea, but was conclusively dismissed by the U.S. State Department. So they just have absolutely no idea what happened to the plane or the two dudes that they think took it. Which is wild because it's a whole ass Boeing 727 aircraft that took off from an airport and was never seen again.
Maybe Boeing got him.
Might have been. Scooped him up in that Boeing net, dude. So there you go. That's today's stuff to Wikipedia when you're high. 2003 Angola Boeing 727 disappearance. A couple other things going on. Last week we talked about on Patreon the disappointment of the U.S. men's national soccer team getting knocked out of the Copa de America group stage like bums.
Yeah, embarrassing.
And shaming our entire country. Well, yesterday, news broke that Greg Berhalter, the head coach, was fired. So after like a couple of weeks of them, I guess, kicking the can around and just deciding like whether or not they finally fired this dude, which most... everyone that I'm aware of who pays close attention to U.S. soccer wanted to happen.
Yeah, they're thrilled about this.
Yeah. Now the question becomes, who will they replace him with?
Yeah.
And I have no idea. I don't know enough about international soccer.
Yeah, I don't know what the coaching carousel is looking like for soccer right now.
But I know you can hire like anybody.
Yeah.
Like it can be like a German dude, because we had one before Berhalter.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a United States coach, which I've always found that to be weird. It seems like a conflict of interest, especially because this is like the World Cup is like the main thing we focus on, right?
Yeah, it's like if we play like for the German coach, like if you play Germany, like is he low key like rooting for Germany? Yeah, point shaving, and all
rigging
that.
the game,
yeah,
coming up with a dog shit strategy for us, which would be kind of normal for us actually.
But this Greg
Berhalter,
he was American. Or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe he actually played on the U.S. men's national team at one point. Yeah.
Gotcha. And you were talking about last week how there's like some weird thing with his hiring. Didn't you say like he had a
after
brother?
the World Cup, they went through like a process to try to find a new coach.
So they were thinking about firing him then.
Or maybe they did. I think his contract might have been up or something.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really sure what the specifics were around it. Sorry if I'm getting some of this wrong. But like his brother was on the committee of people looking for who was going to do the job. And then they ended up hiring him again. So it's been a big crooked mess. A lot of soccer is kind of crooked and messy and weird.
Yeah.
Way more so than you would think. Like FIFA has been a very crooked
FIFA had
organization.
like a huge scandal,
massive scandal. Yeah, with which host country is going to get the World Cup is always a big.
Isn't that
mess.
why Qatar got it?
Yeah.
Whenever that was, wasn't that the last?
I think it was. Yeah.
World Cup.
Just probably shouldn't be there. But anyway, the good news is we got rid of Berhalter, so hopefully they replace him with somebody competent who can make us into like a halfway respectable soccer team. Because this was supposed to be like our golden generation where we take the next step and actually compete on the international stage and are no longer a laughingstock.
Yeah.
And we have maintained our laughingstock status by failing to make it out of the group stage of the Copa de America and losing to like fucking Panama. So
not ideal. How did we do in the World Cup last year? We made it out of the group stage.
It was exciting.
Yeah.
But I don't think... I don't think it was considered like a success by and large. I
think we won one game against like a team we should have beat, and then like we tied the other two maybe.
Yeah,
or
something like that.
Yeah, so like yeah, so not a lot to look forward to, but
No, it wasn't
knows?
super memorable.
yeah.
We
And-
tied
We tied England, right?
England 0-0, very
yeah.
riveting match. We beat Iran 1-0. We tied Wales 1-1, and we lost to the Netherlands 3-1. So like,
Netherlands is kind of cold with it, right? Like
yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They just lost to England yesterday in the Euros. What was a pretty sick match. So England is going on to the finals of the Euros. But yeah, our group was Group B in the last World Cup, and we came in second behind England and advanced out of the group stage. But then, if I'm not mistaken, we lost the next match. So like, we didn't do great.
Yeah.
It was okay. Wasn't like as bad as this was in the Copa de America, but it was still not great. So hopefully they find somebody good to get the fucking ship righted, because this has been, it just sucks. Every time I want to get into it and I'm like, all right, yeah, it's fucking soccer.
Yeah.
I love watching the tournaments. They're super fun to bet on. And then we make me disappointed and I feel like an idiot for getting myself emotionally invested in
Yeah,
soccer.
because it's like every 2 years, right?
There's a big tournament every 2 years. Yeah.
Mhm.
World Cup, then 2 years passes Copa de America,
Yeah.
then 2 years passes World Cup. So
Yeah. And then the Olympics, it's like a completely different team.
pretty sure it's under
If I'm-
20. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like we won't have whatever coach we decide next. He won't be
Nah.
coaching the Olympics.
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Berhalter's out. I also saw okay. So when I was a kid growing up, I can't remember what year. I want to say like the year 2000. Gladiator came out. Yeah, it was the year 2000. Okay, starring Russell Crowe, directed by Ridley Scott. All-time great movie.
Yeah. Watched it for the first time earlier this year or sometime
No
last
shit.
year. Yeah. Really good. Loved it.
Oh man,
It was
you've never
sick.
seen Gladiator?
No.
Wow.
I mean, I've seen like some of the clips and everything, but I've never like, oh, okay, now I need to like sit down and watch this for real. And well, I did eventually, but like, yeah, I was very, very impressed.
Gladiator's sick. Strength and Honor. Saw it in theaters. It was one of those movies like I remember the theater experience. It was so badass. And I've probably watched it like 100 times in my life. But they're making Gladiator II, which has been a thing we've known about, was in the works for a while. It was like Paul Mescal.
And Pedro Pascal. I always
Pedro
get like those
Pascal,
two
yeah.
like confused now because like I'll see like the P and like the skull and like,
Yeah,
all that.
yeah,
It's
very
like,
similar
yeah.
names. And Ridley Scott is at the helm again. And it's been, 21 years or 24 years.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Since the first one came out. Ridley Scott's an old ass man. Mm-hmm. I think he's like 83 or something. Could probably run for president. And there was a lot of question marks around like how this thing is going to look. Well, the trailer came out and it looks pretty badass.
It looks sick. I was very like I can't wait to see this. in
Yeah, I'm
theaters now.
excited. This is
Yeah.
one I'll go to theaters for. But then the internet has been doing its negative thing
Yeah.
and just like roasting different aspects of it. Like it needs to be a historical documentary.
like one of the things I've been seeing a lot is like the music they used in the trailers. No Church in the Wild.
Yeah.
The Jay-Z Frank Ocean
People
song.
were really, really upset by this decision.
Yeah.
Is Watch the Throne Frank Ocean song. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Kanye and Jay-Z and Frank
yeah,
Ocean. Yeah. People were all over that. Denzel Washington is in the movie,
Huge. Yeah, no, that's like a huge draw for me too. I just want to see some Denzel.
and he's not using an accent, so he's just talking like Denzel
Yeah.
does in like fucking Training Day. And people were all pissed off about that, which is so fucking stupid to get mad about. Like, I've talked about this quite a bit lately because it keeps coming up with regard to House of the Dragon and also like the Star Wars online fan base reacting to the Acolyte. And just because I cover a lot of entertainment stuff and I'm super plugged into social media, I see how negative everybody is about everything. And it's like such a bummer because it makes things less enjoyable. And you kind of have to try to find a way to ignore all these fucking people, like the masses of morons that are just constantly complaining about every fucking thing that comes out. And it's happening with Gladiator II. They're getting like review bombed because
Yeah.
people are like upset about the fucking trailer. Which the movie's not even out yet.
Yeah, no, I saw that like there's more dislikes than likes
On
for
the
the
YouTube,
trailer.
yeah.
It's like I think again, it's like mostly because of the song they use, which is such a fucking stupid. Like that song's not going to be in the actual movie.
Right. Which
And-
it's insane to me
Yeah.
that people are struggling with that concept.
And like another movie that like actually used like a recent song in like in the actual movie was like Django Unchained. Like Quentin Tarantino put in like a Rick Ross song at one point
yeah.
in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like like Rick Ross wasn't fucking around during that time period. Like that's not a song that's actually gonna be played, but like
but none
it
of
still
this-
fucking hits.
And none of this happened. And none of it's
yeah,
real.
none of this. Yes, it's based on like real events, kind of, but like
Well,
these
like
characters,
the Colosseum
the
existed.
Colosseum and like all of that stuff, like the naval battles or whatever. Like you saw that.
The first Gladiator wasn't real. There was never a general who became a slave and then became a fucking gladiator and then killed the emperor and then gave Rome back to the people as a democracy. That didn't occur. It never happened.
They're just using that time period as the setting
To
for
tell a
the
story.
Yes.
Yes, it's not that fucking complicated. Joaquin Phoenix is also all-time bad guy in that first Gladiator as Commodus. So hateable.
Oh yeah, and then we got
low key, like the first super incestual situation I saw unfold on. This is long before Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And remember, Commodus he wants to like bang his sister.
Oh yeah. It's kind of.
Got to rewatch it.
Yeah, I got to
kid.
rewatch it because I don't remember that part. But okay,
You were too high.
Yeah, probably. But then they got Joseph Quinn, the dude from Stranger Things, and gonna be in Fantastic Four. He's kind of like playing that Commodus role. It seems like this time around.
Oh, he's super creepy looking.
Yeah.
People keep saying he looks like Cersei.
A little bit, yeah. And then they have like another dude with him too that also like has a very similar look.
Yeah.
to him.
It's
So-
Spencer Treat Clark, I think is his name, maybe.
Yeah. I almost thought he looked like Aegon for a second.
A little bit.
But,
I think Barry Kogan is in this thing,
oh
apparently.
God.
Which,
He's just gonna be in everything now, isn't he?
yeah, he kind of is. Which I'm a huge fan, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah. No, the cast is crazy. So like that's one of the main reasons why I'm gonna go see it. And then it just looks fucking epic. Like you got like a dude on a rhino.
Oh
It's
yeah, the
just,
rhino
like-
scene's tight.
Yeah,
They
and
throw sand in the rhino's face.
Yeah, and then they got the big naval battle. They just like fill the Colosseum with water and put some
Yeah.
battleships in there. I
Fuck
think there's
yeah.
like sharks too. Like
Let's
it's gonna be
go.
sick.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Dude, there better be sharks. I don't think Barry Keoghan is in it. I don't know why the
Okay.
fuck it says that in Google. Anyway, I'm pumped for Gladiator 2, and everybody who's being a bitch about it online needs to shut up and let us enjoy this because it's going to be tight. And it might be the last thing we ever get out of Ridley Scott. So,
Isn't he doing another Alien movie too, or am I tripping?
I think you're right.
Right, yeah. I don't know. Oh, yeah, it does say Barry Kogan's in this. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm like 99% sure.
Yeah, I
he's not.
feel like you can't trust Google with the
You
cast
can't.
list. But
You can't. Especially with their AI answers at the top of stuff now. It just throws like random shit at me sometimes that I'm like, this is absolutely not correct. Anyway, we got Gladiator 2 to look forward to at some point. Also, the trailer for Severance Season 2 finally dropped.
Yeah, it's just like a little teaser though. It's like 30 seconds and
I
like
know.
doesn't really.
tell you shit.
And it comes out next year.
January, is it, of 2025? Which is like, man, that's, I think 3 years after the first season. It's a crazy long gap.
Yeah, and like I mean,
Um,
obviously they had the strike and everything, but like,
Yeah, shit happens.
Yeah,
It's fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal. People were also very upset about this. Like, I don't care anymore. It's been too long. I'm like, oh, you're not going to go watch the second season
Yeah.
just because of the 3-year break?
That's
Just
so annoying.
rewatch season 1 before season 2 comes out.
yeah, no, that's always been like very annoying. Like when people complain about that, like another show that did that I really enjoyed is Invincible on Amazon Prime, and they had like a 3-year gap between their shows, and they're like, yeah, I don't care about this show anymore. I'm like, why? Like if you liked it then, like
Because you had to wait
because you had to wait. Yeah, it's like they're trying to put out like
the best product possible.
Yes, it's very annoying. It's like I'm still gonna tune in whenever it comes out. Like I'm not gonna lose any interest.
And if they rushed to put it out and it sucked, people would be upset then too.
No, people are always finding a reason to be upset now.
You gotta let these artists make their shit and do it properly. And sometimes there are delays, and sometimes things cost a ton of money, and sometimes it just takes forever to film. And yeah, just chill out. I guess with Severance, it's because like there's no like big battle scenes, and people are like, "What's taking so long?"
Right. Yeah, they're like filming in like just like an office for
Yeah.
most of it. So
I still would prefer they take their sweet ass time and make it good.
yeah, I feel
So-
like it's the writing that takes most of the time for a show like that.
I would assume so.
'Cause
You
you
gotta
want-
come up with a lot of good shit,
yeah.
a lot of clever shit.
But yeah, no, I kind of forget everything that happens in that show. So like that is a show like I will go back and like watch like once it gets closer.
Yeah, I remember the gist of it, and a
Yeah.
lot of. I mean, I guess I remember a lot of the specifics too, but I'm sure there are a lot of things I have forgotten. So
or
I'll
like
wanna,
you'll pick up on more like your second watch through.
Yeah,
'Cause,
definitely.
Yeah.
That was a complicated one for sure. All right, happy 27th birthday to Riley coming up next week. Got a little birthday shout out this week. Other stuff we got going on right now, obviously House of the Dragon Season 2 is halfway done. Episode 4 aired this past weekend. It was a wild one. We are covering every episode on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, which I host with my friend Barrett Dudley, where we break down, digest, and dissect every episode of House of the Dragon. It's available on all the podcast platforms, also on youtube.com/@oystersclamscockles, and on all the social media platforms as well. So support OCC, as it is known, if you're watching House of the Dragon right now. The F1 season is continuing on, and Jared J-Bone Borislow is giving you a recap and a preview of every single race on his F1 show, Formula Bone, which you can watch on youtube.com/@formulabone or listen to on all the podcast platforms. Follow @Formula Bone on social media. And if you're a Houston sports fan, check out Banging the Can. As we get into the second half of Major League Baseball season after the All-Star break and head towards football season, I'll be doing a lot more coverage of Houston sports stuff on Banging the Can. That will do it for today's show. Kade and I will be back tomorrow with another ad-free premium edition of RBP, available exclusively on patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast. Hit patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast now and sign up for a 7-day free trial where you can check out the hundreds of exclusive ad-free episodes we have put up there over the last several years. Enjoy that 7-day free trial, and then stick around to support our show and be a part of making sure the show can go on. Also, please support our sponsors by hitting the links in the description of this episode and using our dedicated codes. That is how we pay the bills here at Bolin Media. You can find links for today's sponsor, Fitbod, in the episode description below, fitbod.me/Ross. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram @WRBolin. Follow the show as well, the Ross Bolin Podcast, on all the different social media platforms. Mr. Orris, where can the people follow you?
You can follow me on all the social media platforms @Kade Orris. That's KADEORRIS.
This episode of RBP is presented by Bolin Media. Video of today's show was produced by Kade Orris. Go to youtube.com/@the-Ross-Bolin Podcast for a full video of our show, plus funny clips in the form of YouTube Shorts. Until next time, remember, you are not alone. Peace be with you, and also with you.